Much. Thank you very much, and all the best wishes for the Successpreneur Awards. We have two esteemed panelists today. I am Dr. Rangaya. I'm an agro-processing specialist and then industrialist. I own a couple of food processing industries in and around Hyderabad, and I've been into this profession for the last 30-35 years, and I am also one of the MSMEs, and I spent almost 25 years elsewhere in Gulf as an entrepreneur investor, and I relocated in India in 2018 and set up one nutritional products manufacturing company with a companion brand. The second one is Umenova Agro Food Corporate Private Limited, which we manufacture dairy products, one of the largest dairy factory in and around Hyderabad, and then technologically sound, and then with a lot of differences, in the products. We have Sri Srikanth Lanka Garu, who is the Joint Director in Ministry of IT and Commerce, and takes care of IT promotions. He's a Chief Strategic Officer and Chief Public Relations Officer also in the IT department. He promotes IT products. And then we have Rajesh Pagadala. He is Telangana TIE President, and you all know how important TIE in promoting next generation enterprises. And then he is also an entrepreneur. He owns Pagadala Constructions. And then, of course, both are experts in artificial insemination, artificial intelligence, and then cloud, and then IoT, green innovation, and all that. And then today, of course, as far as MSME subject is concerned, my previous panelists have covered a lot of things, and then they have enlightened us with lots of information. We'll just go deep into a little bit what are the applications of AI in the business, and then the interventions that we require into MSMEs. As you all know, MSMEs, we have around 5.5 crore MSMEs in India, contribute 30% of the Indian economy. You all know that. And then it employs almost 25 crore, gives employment to 25 crore employees. That's how MSME is very crucial in the GDP or economy of India, and they are all, as someone told, they are the backbone for the Indian economy. And if we don't have MSMEs, there is no big industry, large industry at all. So MSME is catering manufacturing and services both together, and then in every sector, let that be IT, let that be food processing, let that be renewable energy, let that be anything, MSME are today very crucial. And with this introduction, I'll just switch over to Sri Srikanth Lanka Garu to tell about himself. And of course, he is founder of one of the first AI marketing tools company, and so he has got a lot of knowledge in that also. So I would request him to elaborate more on AI interventions in MSME, particularly in IT. Srikanth Garu, can we, yeah.
Thank you, Andy. Good evening, everybody. My name is Srikanth Lanka. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for the IT Ministry for the Government of Telangana. Mine is not the first AI company in marketing. There's a whole lot of other companies. I also do that for a living. Just as context from the government side, Malvika was talking about what is happening on the MSME side, but I'll give you a little bit of an IT lens and IT flavor of the initiatives that the government has been pushing out over the past, I'd say, 1.5 years. Few things come to mind. First one is what we look at as a decentralized growth, and that's important as we think about growth happening not just in Hyderabad. There's a discussion about how does growth happen across other tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So that's been a big focus in terms of how do we look at growth that is in any of the tier 2 cities that you can think about. And towards that, there are specific IT interventions and policies that the government has been pushing out for any company that wants to set up offices and or hire talent. In conjunction with that, the second one from an initiatives perspective is what we look at in terms of initiatives is the whole AI city intervention. Primarily, it's one of the key flagship initiatives for the government of Telangana. The objective of that is to enable, identify AI solutions, be it across compute power, across data centers, across data that is required, setting up center of excellences for different industries, and upskilling all the way across from like a high school student to a 60, 70-year-old person. How do you upskill across the whole spectrum of people on AI initiatives that are happening? In addition to that, also thinking about one of the key ones that we are looking at is ethical AI. What I mean by that is ensuring that AI use cases for AI are relevant for the right, not necessarily used in digital fraud or any of those areas. The other area that we are looking at is ensuring that any company which comes up with a solution in AI, and if there is a real market for it, how can we in the government quickly take it on and implement it? So that's been a big focus for us. So that's on the AI city. It's not just the physical space. There's a whole lot of work that's happening. There's also a physical space that has been allocated to think about AI city. The other key one from an IT side of things that the government has been working on for quite some time now has been the whole AI ecosystem. If you think about T-Hub, V-Hub, T-Works, Task, TGIC, RICH, these are all acronyms, but net, all of them are geared towards supporting the government's efforts to support startups, efforts to support companies which are coming up with new ideas, new initiatives across spectrum of verticals, and just as context, T-Hub works specifically on the IT side of things. V-Hub is a women's hub which does work on women's startups across the state. TGIC is Telangana Government's Innovation Council, which also works across Tier 2 rural innovation and all of that. And T-Works is a prototyping center. So all of these players, all of these ecosystem partners are continuing to push the thinking on how do we leverage technology, AI, for betterment of the greater good of the population, not just for the city, but also across the whole state. So that's the way we've been looking at things, and happy to answer any further questions that you might have.
Thank you, Shrikant Garu. I'll just switch over to Pagadala Garu. Pagadala Garu, you have been the president of TAI Telangana, and you are involved in promoting industries and then entrepreneurship in Telangana. So, in this connection, I would like to know more about how is the enterprise attitude of Telangana. It's as somebody was telling, like Telangana is very aggressive and then proactive, and there was a question also like how Telangana product is being identified globally and all that. So, in scaling up or strengthening MSMEs, what do you suggest AI or IoT or innovations in technology can help in enhancing industry promotion?
I'll start with in here, right? Yeah, sorry. I'll start with what TAI is about. Okay, TAI, we are a organization. It's a global organization formed in Silicon Valley, and we have close to 65 chapters all across the world. We come together to promote entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship being, any budding entrepreneur, from a young entrepreneur to a large-scale company who would want to really scale into global levels, right? So we help. We have various programs helping, entrepreneurs in their journey in various stages. We also help young college students and also school-going students to induce entrepreneurship into them. So we have various programs in that. So I specifically head the Hyderabad chapter. We are not TAI Telangana, we are TAI Hyderabad. We are spread across 65 different countries. We are a membership of 15,000 plus members. We all are entrepreneurs who have started as MSMEs and grown in their journeys and to become large-scale companies. Either few of them have exited, few are still running the companies. So all not. So that is the backdrop of TIE as an organization. To your question, and when it comes to MSMEs, right? See, I'll talk about this analogy where 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, when we were in college, when I was in college, there is a storm of change that has happened in the banking sector, where from paper banking to computer-based banking system. There was a push at that time by all the employees where they didn't want to really adopt the banking system, but that has fundamentally changed India as a country and how we do banking. The same thing is going to happening right now in AI space. I've seen large corporations across the world, redoing their entire data management systems, how they look at data and how they retrieve data, how they look at business functions, how they conduct business also based on these AI-based solutions. And I believe it is inevitable for MSME segment to be able to adopt, like we have adopted as a country, we have adopted UPI mechanisms, right? So every small vendor is having a UPI mechanism. Right now, we don't carry cash. So MSME is about to adapt, and I believe my strong belief is be prepared as quickly as possible to adopt this AI technologies.
Though I am moderating, but it's all a women's panel. So again, one more round of applause for the Women's Day, and they bring a lot of power every day, but throughout the year as well, apart from the special Women's Day we celebrate. So as the speaker mentioned, we will focus on a couple of things. Malvika Jaggi focuses on certain things in terms of bringing certain MSME things to life. I would request her if she can highlight the things which she has been focusing on, making the life of the MSMEs better, and linked to that, what has been the focus of the government of Telangana, how is it doing? Especially they released the entire policies a couple of months ago. What is happening around that, if she can bring certain things to light? Especially the people in the audience would love to know what is happening on that sector.
Sure. Am I audible? Okay. So, MSMEs truly, we all know, are the heart and soul of, let's say, economic resilience, driving innovation, building employment, all of that, right? But today, strength alone is not enough. What is important is if every business is digitally empowered. And the pandemic truly has accelerated that at a great speed for all of us. So you can't really be left behind, right? Like, just to take numbers, India has about 60 million plus MSMEs, and only 30% are just digital, which means when I say just digital, leave AI, leave cloud computing, that's all in the air, right? There's blockchain and all. They are not even online. So you can imagine. But let me come to Telangana, leave India aside for now. In terms of Telangana, I truly need to be honest that the Telangana government is a very progressive government and has launched an ecosystem for MSMEs, not just a platform, and that's called the Telangana State Global Linker. Now, what do I really want to tell you about the platform? There are over 400,000 businesses connecting on the platform, discussing how do I get raw material, where do I get suppliers, how do I engage with distributors or even agents. But apart from all of this, the most important thing is that they get a digital presence. And when I say digital presence, it's not limited to just being online. It's beyond that in terms of creating an online store. Not just an online store, but you link your business to, let's say, an ONDC. Via the platform, you also link your business to an exports marketplace. You get access to a procurement marketplace. So there's all of that under one umbrella. And I truly have to appreciate the government for it. In fact, if our minister was here, under his guidance, the platform is created, has been there for about 6 years now. 14,000 MSMEs in the state are utilizing the platform and growing from there. So they create a digital entity, they create a digital store, they link their business to ONDC, they link then, and ONDC alone is doing about 5 lakh transactions per day. So you don't have to sit back. a lot of times when I talk to businesses, they feel very overwhelmed or they feel scared that how do I start? I'm not sure about the process, I'm not sure about the outcome. I've been doing business traditionally for decades now. Why do I even go online? So there is a whole story behind it, and I'll leave it back to both of you if you want to come in on that.
Thanks, Malvika. I think it's an important element you're highlighting. I know the audience here sitting probably all representing the bigger cities. The bigger challenge which you highlighted was the ones which are in the rural. Let's go to a Khammam, let's go to other areas. How are those MSMEs? Because it's a wider definition. There is micro, there is small, there is medium. The entire ambition is to become large from MSME to large company. That's the larger vision which the government has. And to your point, if we are not even barely digital, leave alone be going out of MSME, we will never touch the larger one. Now, I know Kavita comes from a deep background of trying to implement blockchain, which is a solution which was in vogue for quite some number of years. The technology has become cheaper. Now, a link to what Malvika just highlighted and also the broader vision of the government, how is this technology relevant? How do you make our MSME sector above and beyond the ones who are in Hyderabad, link back and look at a global vision? How can they become really big?
When we talk about globalization and digitization, right? So there is very minute difference in between digital and decentral, right? There is basically the technology that powers both the factors. If an MSME is not able to simply access a website, for us to go and tell them that you're going to be on a blockchain to conduct your transactions, to conduct your financial, go get a loan or apply for, even for your registration of the company. The paperwork is sometimes enormous. This is where the entire MSME sector, and even, as Malvika said, only 30% is actually digitized. There are probably just as many number of people who are not even registered. This is the unorganized sector that you see over and over again which is underutilized, underprivileged, and sometimes taken advantage of. How do we first bring them onto a digital platform before we think about bringing them onto a blockchain network itself? By bringing them onto a blockchain network, you make it very easy for them by ensuring that all the things that you need to do. Right now, to become an MSME, the micro, the medium enterprise, micro, small, and the medium enterprise, and before you even get to the large enterprise, being a micro enterprise is extremely, I would say paper intensive. You need to get registration, then you need to get a GST number, then you need to get if you have a directorship, you need to get a direct DIN number, then you need to get a GST number, then you need to get a company's PAN number. By then, I think half the times people lose their breath, right? To make all of that easy, we bring out what we call one DID, decentralized identifier, that identifies everything that you do as whether it is a micro, small, medium, large enterprise. Everything together becomes one single number, and your own decentralized ID is now linked to your enterprise ID. So whether you want to open a bank account, whether you want to open what they do, the global link, you want to go build a platform there, and you want to trade with somebody across the globe, whether you want to use dollars, euros, doesn't matter what you want to use, CBDCs. Everything becomes as simple as owning a Gmail ID. Originally, for the small, medium sectors, to even send an email ID to a government platform to request something, whether it is a GST or whatever it is, or send an email to their bank, bank manager, it is enormous. Right now, they're enabled. Once we bring them all to the digital platforms, then we want to bring them onto the blockchain and consolidate everything that they do onto one single ID.
We've already backtracked this, which means that we have partnered with brands like HUL, Nestle, got all their catalog information, their products, images, description, everything is in place. The Kirana store owner comes and says, okay, I deal in these checks all the boxes where the brands that they deal in, and their store is created. All they need to do is what is the price that they want to sell it at. And of course, in retail, you know, there's not a lot of play that can happen. So the MRP goes and then he updates the inventory. There are even logistics partners included. There is payment gateway included. All of that to say that, okay, if the customer is sitting at home, he is able to get, and in fact, this was launched during COVID, this special program, where the central government had the idea that if people are at home, how do we enable local businesses to get to them and not just, let's say, an online marketplace like Amazon. So this is the concept that I wanted to touch upon on what the platform can do. But the question truly is not about whether digital transformation is going to happen or not, because it truly already is happening. Now, whether you are adapting to it or not is in your hands, right? And all I'll say is you need to go back and see that the government has created something like this. The government is not going to leave you. And by what I mean by leave you is leave you alone. They are trying their level best that they take your hand along and help you be empowered. In fact, the vision for the state government is that we are the first government in the country to have 100% MSME digitization. So you all need to come together, join hands with us and say that we are going to make it happen. I'll leave you with that thought before we move on to Kavita.
Thanks, Malvika. I think this is very powerful. I'm sure all the audience here would have looked up what is Global Linker. I'm sure all of you also are starting to look up what is ONDC, if you have not already done. One of the key promises we want from all of you, at least today, and also go back to your all other counterparts from the business, is to make sure that Global Linker is a success, because generally you don't find somebody investing in infrastructure and enabling you to do all of this. The government is trying to do that. We should just, it's all about dissemination of this information, which probably may not have known fully. But this is a forum for all of you to know that something like this is happening. And if all of you are onboarded onto that and eventually linked to ONDC, the power is in your hands. So you don't need to set up your own website, find more infrastructure. The government is enabling you to do. If government has done all of this, and if I go back to Kavita in terms of how do you leverage your DID, she mentioned about not having multitude of identities, right? Today, as she mentioned, there is PAN, GST, various.
FROEXPO came into existence in order to enable small and medium-sized businesses with automation, in other words, digitalization. With relentless work, rigorous work, our team has crafted 3 different applications, keeping in mind the different sectors. Firstly, we have FROEXPO Live, which is meant for the smaller businesses having employees ranging from 10 to 50. Then we have FROEXPO CRM. This is meant to track your field force. Another thing is FROEXPO HR. FROEXPO HR is having modules right from onboarding till exit. Now, talking about few more details in FROEXPO HR, as I already mentioned, we are covering the entire life cycle of an employee in FROEXPO HR, right from onboarding till exit. Close to around 120 plus features we are having. This, our team has designed after a careful study and analysis of all the sectors, almost. For instance, if you take a hospital, our team, after having regular interactions with the healthcare professionals, understood that managing shifts is the greatest challenge that a hospital faces. This is where we came up with the feature shift management, rotational shift management, so on and so forth with almost all the sectors, that we are not just representing the basic features in FROEXPO, we are actually trying to address the real challenges that any sector is facing Spriple Lite, as I already mentioned, is meant for the small businesses. Take, for example, a small shopkeeper having employees, say around 15, wanting to adopt the HR techniques, but is very hesitant to go through the lengthy and complicated features of any HRMS. He is trying for automation, but still cannot spend that time learning a new HRMS technique. This is where Spriple Lite comes into picture. Without any additional device, he can simply automate his attendance and payroll. Now, I would like to talk about Spriple CRM. Imagine today's restaurants without having an option of home delivery. I'm sure you all must agree with me here that such business may not survive for long. Similarly, if somebody is trying to adopt this technique of home delivery, now is facing challenges in monitoring their field staff. Spriple CRM is actually trying to support this idea. An owner of a restaurant is able to monitor right from the place where he's sitting about his field force, their whereabouts, their client visits, and if in case anybody is eligible for any kind of incentives, then that is also possible with our application here.